Who wants free plot lessons? Right? Teaching plot can be mundane, boring, exclamation mark, all capital letters. I get it. So I have created a free printout where you can get 5 free plot mini lesson ideas just for watching this show. So before we jump in, I'm going to share 3 of those with you today. That way you really understand what the activities are, and then you can go and grab the free printable. Click the See More button below and you'll be able to grab that. Before we jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything new from the 𝗦ci Harris Teaching Channel. So, teaching plot, boring, right? Yes, I get it. It's like the sandwich that kind of brings all the components together when it comes to, reading a story. It's essential to understanding a fictional story. However, teaching it can get kind of boring. So I have created 5 amazing mini lessons that you can do with any text. So let's jump in to idea number 1. So one of the things that I think about understanding plot is that there's so much when it comes to reading comprehension. There's so many components and things about a book or a text that students need to know. But what about the confusion that they experience of what really goes into a plot and what doesn't? What components of reading are included in the plot and which ones are not? So today's activity is quite simple, but it's really powerful. And the objective is that I can determine important components of a plot. And how you do this activity is you start by having your students do a brain dump. I love using that word in the classroom because your kids love it. Brain dump of ideas, of terminology, content, components, anything that they can think of that is included in reading. So some of the examples I give are the author, the genre, the characters, the problem, the theme, anything like that they can come up with. And then what you do is you take that list, have your students go off with a partner and give them a very blank T-chart. They can draw it themselves and have them sort out what they think is included in the plot of a story and what's not included. Clearly, the author is not included. I don't need to know the author to know the plot of a story. I don't really need to know the genre. I can infer the genre based on the plot, but the genre itself does not need to be stated in the plot. Characters, clearly. Setting, yes. Problem, solution. Theme, probably not. So you can see how all of these things that they're kind of learning, what really is included in understanding a plot or, explaining the plot of a story. Or when we say plot, what kind of pieces come to mind? All of those things need to make sure are happening in their brains and that they have a very clear understanding of when I say plot, you say, and they should be able to spout off the important components of what makes plot. So this super fun activity literally takes no prep, could take you 15, 20 minutes, great mini lesson, great for understanding what is plot. Definitely try that one. All right. Mini lesson idea number 2. I love this one as well. The objective, I'll start there, is I can understand how fictional plots can be different from one another. The thing about fiction is most kids and most stories, so rightfully so, all follow the same story structure. It's called story grammar. And basically, it's the plot diagram. That's why the plot diagram was invented, is because the majority of fictional stories follow that structure. Your exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and your resolution, right? However, there are some plot anomalies that will kind of throw your students through a loop if they experience them and they don't know that it's even a thing. A lot of times these are found in movies and TV shows, but they can be found in books too. And when they experience it, it really can throw off their overall comprehension and understanding of the text. So what you're going to do is you're going to find some really well-known movies or TV shows or books, most likely books if you can, but find some plots that have some of these anomalies. Things like foreshadowing, flashbacks, daydreaming, sequels are even a a plot anomaly that can happen. Anything that's going to break off from your typical plot diagram. Anything where it's like, we're going and then maybe we veer off here before we get to the climax, or, anything that breaks from that. So then what you're going to do is you're going to have your students simply identify the anomaly. What is the component in here that's different from a typical story structure? And so see if you can have your students pull those out and identify them. And then you can talk about, well, this is a flashback. This is daydreaming. How can daydreaming, something as simple as that, cause, us to not understand where the story is going? It's something as simple as, I know the science of reading right now, kind of veering off, but I think this is an important connection, is really showcasing how important sentence comprehension is and understanding something as simple as pronoun connection. Do we understand when I say they or us or them or he or she, any of those pronouns, who is it connecting to? And studies have shown that there are a lot of students who struggle with something as simple as pronoun connection. So if they're struggling with pronoun connection, think about what happens when a student is daydreaming or a character is daydreaming, what I meant to say. That can completely throw off their linear understanding of the story. So being able to understand that these things do happen in fictional stories, there can be kind of like one-offs that can veer away from that linear plot diagram. Then when they face them on their own, and they're going to better be able and be more equipped to understand and tackle that hurdle. So you can do some activities with that. I think, honestly, it's a great just whole group mini lesson where we just kind of read a plot line together and maybe we highlight the anomaly. Like, what do we think this is? Maybe they time traveled. Like, that could be an anomaly as well. So a lot of different things you could do there, but I think overall it's a really important objective to focus on. All right, one more that I'm going to throw at you. Again, there are 5 in the freebie, so make sure to check that out. Okay, so the objective is I can determine how this plot would change if one event of the story changes. So the basic understanding here is that students need to see that important events in the plot of a story are all connected to each other, right? It's that domino effect. One thing makes the other occur, etc., all stemmed from a character's motive, whatever it may be. So what happens if I were to make a change in that plot? So the activity here is very simple. It would probably take you a few minutes to create a graphic organizer, a chart of some sort. You could make it a whole group and do a chart on butcher block paper. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to take stories that you have recently read. Maybe if you're reading a picture book a day, if you've read some novels, you could even do this with movies if you wanted to make it even easier. Disney movies are great to use. Fairy tales are great to use. But basically, take a storyline that majority of your students know and highlight one event in that story and say, simply, if this did not happen, or you can change it to where, if this changed to this, how would the plot change? That way they can see how connected these events are and how important that event was to the story. So you can even, when you're planning out the lesson, you can even do some where some of the events you highlight and choose are super important events that are like completely going to change the outlook of the story. Or maybe you throw in a curveball and you give them an event that's really not that important. So they're seeing how, well, actually that didn't really change the plot that much. Yeah, maybe this character wouldn't have said this, or this character wouldn't have done this or gone here, or whatever it may be. But overall, the problem of the story was still solved in the same way. So they can really see how the determining importance factor can come into play here and experience kind of like what would happen if these things would change. So in my mind, I'm visualizing a very simple organizer where I've written out the event, I've explained how it changed, and then there's blank space next to it. So literally a 3-column table. So simple to create. You can draw it, you can type it, but then they would have space to write out how the plot would change based on the events that you've given them and how those events change as well. So the event can simply just be taken out, or you say this event changes to this event. How now will the plot change? Super fun activity, great for understanding plot, great for really digging into details and connections and determining importance, but overall, love that activity. So where can you get your 5 free plot printable? It is in the full blog post. So you're going to want to check out the full blog post linked below. And then you can get the free printable that has all 5 activities in it. These can be worked and done with any book and really work for a lot of different grade levels too. So definitely go and grab that. If you have any plot questions or if you're looking for more plot resources, I have games, crafts, full units to teach plot. If you need more than just mini lessons, I have plot interventions. Anything really that you need to teach it, I've got it. So I'm going to link all of that down below in the See More button too, so you can grab the freebie, but also check out some of the other resources. And if you're not a member of the Building Comprehension Hub, which is the full membership, you have all of that already in your membership. So you can grab this freebie as well just for some new, fresh ideas, but you have so many amazing plot resources already in your membership. If you're not a member, make sure to check out the link below too to check that out. Friends, plot questions, bring them my way. I would love to hear them. If you have feedback on the ideas I gave, if you've tried any or have any of your own, put them in the comments below too. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more freebies coming your way on the 𝗦ci𝗰𝗶𝗹 teaching channel. And we will talk soon. Bye, everyone.